Right, welcome to Tito the Troddler. Today is a bit off-piste, well, something completely different really, and I'm not even sure I'm supposed to be on here or not, but I'm not going to cause any damage or anything like that. If anybody asks me to go, I will go. But I'm at Riddlesden Golf Club, and I just thought for prosperity, I've got to try and at least map where this golf course used to be before it's too late. So, as you can see behind me here, this is what used to be the first tee. Now the most significant thing for me is this hedge. This yew hedge, Taxus baccata hedge, I planted that from about that big. And look at it now, and if you look at the actual ones behind that have been left to grow, they're just absolutely massive. Now these things, once they're established, they'll live for a long, long time. And my hope were always that this hedge could be trimmed as topiary and all the rest of it. And it's a real shame it isn't the first tee, but I'm going to try and do a hole by hole guide of Riddlesden Golf Club, maybe tell you one or two funny tales and people that I remember from my happy times when I was down here as a greenkeeper. Alright, hope you enjoy. Right, this is hole number one. So you've seen the tee from the first clip, and this is 199 yard uphill. I considered this has got to be the hardest opening hole of any golf course I've ever played in my entire life. You've got out of bounds to the left over the wall. You've got what were known as a cricket stump, the three trees in the middle that you had to negotiate. The green used to run adjacent, well, with the land and the lie of the land, but it was rebuilt probably around about, I don't know, 1990, somewhere around there, maybe late 80s, early 90s anyhow, by the legendary Ken Root. And the tale goes that they left Rooty to do it, and it was supposed to run adjacent with fairway, and when he finished he put a big banking out front of it, which made it even harder to get on green. So if you see this big area here, that were all rocks and rubble when I came here, and we, between us, all the greenkeeping staff, Rob Taylor, Jonathan Wheelhouse, we handballed, we got a pecker in, JCB with a pecker in, and we handballed all the stone. We took about 250 tonne out of this fairway. I pecked it all out, and then the late Brian Hudson, he got some soil from Ingro Cricket Club. We put 250 tonne into cut that area so we could, well, to fill that area so we could cut it. But yeah, a really tough hole. So you normally play anything from obviously a long iron, or some people even go 3 wood, even some people hit a low driver, and if you could get in or around the green you'd take that. So anywhere this sort of distance you'd hope to flick onto the green, hopefully single putt, or you know, if you came away with a 4 you'd sort of take that, because like I say, it was that tough for the hole. So this is the first, coming up to the first green now. Sorry if I'm muffing and puffing a bit, but quite a little pull up that hill. They've planted a load of trees now, so obviously it's going to change the hole more dramatically. I'll get on to council and what have you in a bit, but yeah, this is the first green. Wow, just incredible. Really, still quite a bit of fescue in there, some fine grass in there, but could do with a bit of a trim. And I think about how much effort went into making these good, and on over a couple of occasions we got them really good. You know, where they're as good as anything around. And to look up now is almost heartbreaking, but I've got to accept it is what it is, and also it's good that the land's still being used for something positive with the scouts. So that's hole number one. Right, this is hole number two, and you can see this wall at the back of the green. I made that, and originally my intention was to have a flower bed at the back of the green with some plants in, which we did maintain for a little while, but no more, unfortunately. There used to be a bench up here on the 17th tee dedicated to, I think, a lad called Stuart Woolley, who died unfortunately, I think, of cancer. But obviously that's no longer here neither. And this is what used to be the second tee. So same again, it's a little bit different now. But yeah, so walking up, so basically another 135 yard uphill par 3. Swine of a hole. I have actually started these first 3 holes 7-7-7. It were an incredibly tough start. Short holes, always having to wait for other people to play out and all the rest of it, so quite slow to get away, but you could lose your card in these first 3 holes. The second's a little bit special, and it was the first hole that I ever got an official hole-in-one on. I think have I had 3? No, I think I've had 2. I've either had 2 or 3 official ones, and I've had 2 unofficial ones. My first one were at Branshaw Golf Club and there was nobody else there, so nobody believed me, but at Riddlesden it was quite common to get hole-in-ones because there were a lot of par 3s. So, but this second hole were a tough hole, and like I said, I had every score on it. So you had a stream that ran down the sort of both sides of the green and a bunker, and you if you could just get on that green, it sloped, let's say, violently from back to front, and it certainly looks a bit different now, I'll tell you. Talk about nature taking back over. But yeah, this is coming up to green now. So this is second hole, second green. So you put out onto here. There used to be a bunker there where the rag water is, and anywhere on the green would do you, but you can see how much it slopes from back to front, so you could put about 4 foot up there on the stimp meter and off the scale going downhill, so it was quite a tough little green. Certainly no gimme of a 3, and if you come off here with a 3, you were very happy, or even a 4 sometimes, depending on your handicap obviously. But yeah, I always found it really hard to start. And then so that's hole number 2. Right, this is hole number 3, but before I show you that, this is one that went into tee mats that I put in. Still going strong, no mat on it obviously, but that's it. So this is its third tee, and there were a black and white marker post in the middle, sort of above. You can see where the trees are lower, so in the middle, like straight ahead from here. And it's a 291 yard par 4, so it wasn't a long hole. It was just difficult in the respect that you had to get your drive away, and you were it was almost like a blind shot up to the hole. You couldn't see where your ball had landed, so quite often it was a question of just making sure you could hit it down the middle with a 5 wood or something like that. Although I did once see Ricky Cromwell drive this green over to the side. I think he drove it about 330 yards or something like that. So, but that was Ricky. It either went 3 yards or 300 yards. There were not much in between. So this is third. So like I say, what you would do is you'd drive off up this hill. Activity area it says now, so I'm hoping that I'm not going to get a bow and arrow on me. But if I see any people, I'm just going to have to go up and explain who I am, and if it's okay, and if it ain't okay, obviously I'll leave, no problem. I'm not going to cause any damage, and I'm not even sure there's anybody on, so we'll see. But so yes, so this is the third hole coming up now, and you sort of drive. You could hit drive if you wanted to, or like I say, 3 or 5 wood for position. There's a big dip in middle at fairway, and what you hope to is that you could just get other side at dip, and then that'll give you a nice approach into green, which was a double green, shared with 14th. So yeah, quite another good, quite big test of golf, in that not long, but you had to be straight. Quite often a lot of people would go to the right here, they'd fade it and go right. I were one of them people. Although I think I've done everything on this hole, including hooking it into rough on the other side. So the thing about Riddlesden what is, it wasn't a long course, but it could be brutal at times. So this is a big dip here, you can see in the fairway. Like I said, they've obviously planted it up. Still can't get any grass to grow on here, which is not unusual. You know, no irrigation, matted turf, quite compact. I've got somewhere saying some ways, although it saddens me to see a course like this, in other ways it is quite pretty, it's very peaceful. So let's go up to green now. So I haven't really got any funny tales on this hole, I don't know. Oh no, I'll tell a lie, I've got a funny tale when I get to the next tee, but I'll wait until I get there to tell you that one. But yeah, this is third as a green that we're coming to now. Always a wet green, all water adjacent, running down onto it all the time. So it were yeah, it were a bit of a swine to keep well, because it were always wet. So tried his best to put drains in and all sorts, but there were a lot of water came off this hillside. So yeah, so this is the green, looking good. Bit long. Might need your croquet mallet rather than a putter, but yeah, that's the third hole. Right, this is the fourth hole, and the funny story I'm going to tell you is, I once played in a I think it was a scramble, and I played with I think it was Liam Eaton, Basil the Russian Prince, and Dean Simpson, and both Dean Simpson and the Russian Prince heeled it off the club end and went straight across a double green. Two people to do that in the same four ball was something you couldn't create that shot if you tried your best. So yeah, this is the fourth hole is a 456 yard par 4 up the hill. So a nice first hole where you can actually spray your ball around a little bit and not getting up in too much bother. But same again, if you fade right, you've got a shot back over at trees. But the line was sort of up the top end of the fairway, and you aim to sort of try and get adjacent to where the 14th tees were. So what I'm going to do is, so I'm not boring you, is I'm going to just turn off from this hole now, and I'm going to walk up, and then I'll stop in the middle of the fairway and do another little short piece for you. Right, so we're in the more or less middle of the fourth fairway now, and we're going to approach the green. This were a good drive from here. You know, a short iron into it green. Quite a tricky little green again, slope from left to right. But yeah, a good sort. I think one of the longest holes on course, if not the longest. I can't quite remember if it is. It's one of them anyhow. From a par 4, you know, par 4s. But like I say, it's the sort of that fact that you're hitting uphill as well does add a little bit to it. But still not an overlong hole. In fact, you know, wasn't really an overlong hole at Riddlesden full stop. That was the only thing that it was lacking a bit of length. It was all a bit too much of a driving a wedge. That's why people's short game were normally pretty good if they came here, because one, they had to lob it up into air, and secondly, they obviously with par 3s, if you didn't hit the green, you're obviously always wedging from around the green, so you got a lot of practice. So yeah, there used to be a little bunker tip right here that came, I think Rob put that in, that wasn't one of mine. There was a grass bunker up here on above the hole as well, but gosh, this is what's going to ever happen if there's no humans. The earth will be retaken by the nature, I suppose. So yep, this is the fourth green, so quite a good view from here as well, looking back up towards Skipton there. So yeah, that's hole number 4. Right, this is hole number 5, 318 yard long, a very straight hole. You really want it to be to the right hand side of the fairway, but you could hit it as far left as you really wanted to. You could go all the way down to sort of 8th green, and you'd still be alright, but it'd just be a longer shot into green. Well, there's somebody down there, I might have to go and see them and just get permission. Looks like there's out there. So unless they're walking as well, I don't know. But I'm going to keep him walking for a little bit, and then I'll if he stops me, I'll just tell him what I'm doing, and he'll either say it's alright to continue, or he'll say it's not alright to continue. I hope he does, because I just want to really log this down for prosperity more than anything else, while you can still actually see some of the golf course. We should have really done this when it closed, but I wasn't set up for that sort of thing then, so I'll turn off now and I'll turn it back on when we get to the bottom of the hill. So we're now at the bottom of the hill of hole number 5. I think just a chap walking his dog there. So your intention was to try and get to the bottom of this slope really with your driver. Anywhere in this sort of area was good, and then that just leave you a wedge into green. If not, you'd be on this slope and you'd have to wedge into green. It was quite a tricky little shot because obviously the ball were above your feet. Narrow green, constructed by the late great Ken Root. Bit of a, let's just say, there weren't much way spec sheets used on it, but it still performed pretty well to this green. And you know, I mean, there's that many stories about Ken Root, but what I will say is I didn't know him that well. You know, he left obviously when I started, but he did come up quite a few times afterwards, and he was always really pleasant and just one of them blokes that were fantastic company to be with. I think somebody once told me that they'd tried to get rid of him about a million times, and he'd go into boardroom or he'd go into committee room and sort of they'd be ready to read him the riot act, and when he come out they're all shaking him by hand. He just had the gift of the gab, Mr. Root, a cockney with a suave tongue, and quite keen on swear words as well. But there we go. So this is 5th green. As you can see, it's a bit long. But yeah, quite narrow green, good green, out of bounds up the back. But yeah, a good test to golf that, and then obviously that's hole number 5 and on to hole number 6, which is something quite special. Right, this is hole number 6, the first quarry hole, the 6th hole, a real memorable hole. Only 115 yard long, but danger everywhere. You can't be short, you can't be long because you're out of bounds. You could go left, and you definitely didn't want to go right. I can't really show you because it's not overgrown now, but you hit down into through the quarry, the green is at the bottom. And like I said, it's a tough little hole. Sorry, aeroplane flying over. But yeah, I'll when I get to the bottom, I'll show you at the green, and yeah, you'll be able to see what I'm on about. But yeah, this was probably the signature hole, or one of the signature holes, definitely. Right, I have to do a couple of recordings without the microphone because I want to charge the battery, and I'm worried that I'm going to run the battery down if I don't keep charging it. I should charge my phone up before we set off, but I want to make sure we get all the way around. But this is a 6th green, so you've got to hit it down through the quarry and down into this area here. This is one of the bunkers that I'm stood in now. There used to be a sign to Lillian Pass, one of the past members who passed away, but I think it's been removed by probably one of the members before when it closed. But yeah, so that's looking back up the quarry where I've just shown you. So incredibly tough hole, but a wonderful hole, really wonderful hole. And then you've got the 7th tee there that fires back up the hill. But yeah, that's hole number 6, 115 yards of trouble. Right, this is hole number 7, another short par 4. Used to be a par 3 once upon a time, but they changed it to a 4. 249 yards from the back tee, which is just behind me. There used to be a tree here, but I chopped it down to extend the tee, which were quite funny because they all used to lean the clubs on there while they put it out on 6, and they come down one day and it wasn't there. I knew that if I asked I wasn't going to get allowed to do it, so I just went ahead and did it anyhow. But yeah, this is 7th, like I said, 249 yards. Same again, you could drive this hole, and I have driven this hole, but there was so much trouble if you went right and left really. So you need to get a good drive away. So normally a 5-wood or a 3-wood down the middle, that would still leave you a short shot into green. But more jeopardy up there when we get up there, which I'll tell you about when we get into the middle of the fairway. Right, so here we are in the middle of the 7th. Well, like I say, all you needed was to get your drive away with either a 3-wood or a 5-wood, or a driver if you really wanted to go for it green. But and then you'd have a short wedge into green. The only thing was if you hit it right, you had to hit it back up that hill, and then just judging it was quite tricky because you were also out of bounds at back at green, and that's what Riddlesden did to you, is there were always jeopardy. So like this hole would have been nothing if it had been flat and there'd have been loads of ground behind it, but because you knew you were out of town, if you went big, it forced you to think about it. So there were little incendiary devices all over the place to try and catch you out, and believe you me, I think I found most of them at some point or another. But yeah, look at all this beautiful grass, lots of fine grass. Definitely a moorland golf course, or semi-moorland if you want to call it that. Some good grass in these fairways. So yeah, this is 7th green that's now planted in trees. It's going to be totally unrecognisable. Well, it is totally recognisable now, but only members will remember where this is in a couple of years' time once these trees establish. But there we go, so that's that. So that's hole number 7. Right, here we are at hole number 8, so we're just below the where the 7th tee is. And hole number 8 is 269 yard. And it looks quite straightforward, apart from there used to be a big tree that you can sort of see the stump. When we go past, I'll show you it. But it was definitely a fair bit bigger than the tree that's now to the left of it. So you imagine you couldn't really see the green because of the tree, so you either had to hit it to the left of the tree or to the right of the tree, and then or over the tree. I've driven this green as well. This sort of thing is, if you got a good driver where you could drive the green, but you had to be spot on, and like I said, there were plenty of jeopardy. But yeah, I'll show you a bit more when we get to where the tree is. Right, we're down to where the tree come down now. You can see it's still there. I can't remember whether it's an ash. It looks a bit like an ash to me, but big tree, whatever it was, anyhow, nonetheless. And I forgot to say to you, there's also an open ditch that runs down here. That, God, how many times we had to trim that? And look at it now. The silver birch taking over. But yeah, so once you'd hopefully got round the tree, all really you had left then were a wedge into this green. And same again, out of bounds over at back, so there's a little bit of jeopardy, but a fairly straightforward hole. But I probably got more 5s than I did 3s. I did once or twice drive it and get 2s on this hole. So in fact, my sort of like combined score around this place is somewhat quite incredible. But I think there's a lot of people that could say that because you've got short, you've got short par 4, so you can get some good scores. And I've had quite a number of 2s on a number of these short par 4s, but not in the same round I hasten to add. But I've also scored bad points. There used to be a bunker here where at this top side at green, and remember club trophy qualifier taking about 27 out of there or something, so that spoilt that card. But yes, this come on to 8th green, and like I say, it was a really good match play all this, because there was a chance to get back into a game. You could get a birdie if you could sink a putt, which I also did on the odd occasion. But yeah, so this is 8th green, tiny little green, always wet at the back. Same again, water running from higher adjacent ground. But that's hole number 8. Right, this is 9th hole. We're 325 yard long here. There's an open ditch that runs from where the trees are on the left all the way down to past the 8th fairway. And the intention was really just to get onto the banking shy of where the ditch is, and then you'd have a short iron into green. You could go and drive over the ditch, but there's a bit of risk reward there. Obviously you could put it in the water, which is just whether it were worth you doing that. There weren't many that could drive green from the back of it unless you're a big hitter. But yeah, this is 9th hole. I'll show you when we get wet ditches, and I'll walk in. From banking is, and I'll walk in from there. Right, so we're normally where you'd like to drive to from here. You can get straight into the green. So again, like I say, 8 iron, 9 iron wedge, depending on how big you hit your ball. And so yeah, you'd hit your shot in, and then you'd come and walk over this bridge or jump over the stream one way or other. This bridge was put in by Steve Anderson. I remember helping him with thing. He did a lovely job with it. Nice arch at the bottom of it and all the rest of it. And money donated by the ladies section. Well, there used to be a plaque on here once upon a time, but don't know. Obviously somebody must have taken it. Probably one at ladies. But yeah, so you'd drive over, and then you'd hopefully hit the green. You didn't want to be right, because then you'd have to have wedge back up into green, and it was quite tricky. So a tough little finishing hole this, for not an over long hole, but still a tough hole. If you could come off here with a 4, you'd sort of take that, and a 3 would be a really, really big bonus. But I had a lot of 5s and 6s. But like I said, I did once get a 2, which was a fluke. I think I just hit a 7 iron in, and it managed to go straight down the hole, which is one bounce and straight down the hole. So we'll take that when we get it. So yeah, this is coming up to green now. Good pull. So there we go then. So see where my little patch of decent stuff is. A lot of not good stuff in this green. A lot of Yorkshire fog. But yeah, nice nonetheless. That's hole number 9. Right, on to hole number 10. So we've turned the corner now, and we've got this to climb up. Heart Attack Hill, a lot of people used to call this hole, and I'll tell you a few tales when I get near the top. But another real tough hole. You didn't want to be right, you're out of bounds if you went to the side of them trees and you had virtually no shot. You could go as far left as you wanted, but really it was pretty straightforward. To get close to the green, to get on the green was quite tricky because it had a big steep slope in the front of it. So the idea was to slam it into the banking at the back and hopefully it'll roll back down to the green. But a tricky hole nonetheless. And when I get near the top, I'll give you a bit more information. Ooh. Sorry if I'm puffing and puffing. Don't get any easier that hill. So when I first come up here, they used to cut the fairway right up to the bottom of the green. And the thing was is if you hit your ball just shy at green, it went all the way back downhill, which seemed a little bit unfair. So what we did is we had a tongue of grass that we left, it's sort of like 20 inch, so it meant that the ball would stop, you'd only roll sort of like 5-10 yards, it was a lot fairer. And then what you'd have is you'd have a flick onto green, and like I say, unless you could bang it into banking or straight onto green, that would be the preferred option. But you'd when you get up here, you still had a bit to contend with because green sloped severely from back to front. And one pin position I used to low up here was just at the top of the slope where the green dropped away. There was a sort of flattish spot, and I could put a pin there, and it was as quick as anything at Augusta, I promise you. But yeah, this is stood on the green now. You'd be alright, you could hit it down the hill at the moment and it'd be okay, you'd stop. But yeah, a little story about this one hole is there used to be a father and son who used to play on a Friday in what they call the Friday fiddle, which was just a bit of a throw your money into the pot, and winner took the money, and they got a couple of strokes deducted for the following week. And yeah, at that time I think the person who had the most hole in ones up here was Mark Mitchell, and every time I think he had 9 or something like that. Every time his dad mounted one at balls, he'd go and get another one. But Mark were quite an incredible competitor at most sports. But yeah, this particular guy used to play on a Friday with his father, and while his father were, if he'd hit ball onto the green and it looked him remotely close, as his dad were walking uphill, he'd run up to the green, and funnily enough it going hole quite a lot, so I think he ended up having quite a lot of hole-in-ones on that 10th hole always, funnily enough. And you know, I don't want to say that he was cheating, and I would never want to mention his name, sorry, but yeah, quite another interesting little story. But this was a tough little par 3, but a fantastic hole nonetheless. Right, we're up on the 11th tee now. This 11th tee is quite something because God, I put a lot of work into this. When I first came up here, the pond was about that big, and what it is, I extended it all with the full length of the tee, as you can sort of see. And we built this flagged area at the back, and we fenced it off, and we had a little hut up here, so obviously when we had a competition you could sit here and get a drink halfway out, so as you got up to the top of the hill. And unfortunate thing is like we're always on a golf course, when you build a bunker and you want it to drain, it just fills full of water, and when you build a pond, all it does is want to leak, and this was one of them, it just wanted to leak. So we couldn't afford the liner, but it's still quite remarkably full now, which I am pleased about. But yeah, it was a pretty little hole, and it's just a shame. This water is what fed the irrigation system, which was just gravity fed. But the best thing, I suppose, from the 11th hole is the view. I mean, it's just a tremendous view looking out over towards Skipton Way, Cross Hills. But yeah, a really good hole, and you drive up from here. It's the 11th hole is 336 yards, and your line would basically, you can see the brown field in the distance, or the slightly lighter field. You'd sort of normally aim along that line and maybe slide it around the corner. Mick Scarborough used to always do it. I used to call it a Scarborough slider. But yeah, the idea was the fairways was up to the right, but you could hit down onto the 13th fairway, and you'd have a longer shot in the green, but you'd be safe. But if you went far right, you might not find your ball. So another not long hole, but quite a sticky wicket. Right, so we're in the middle of the 11th fairway now. Hopefully you've hit your drive to here, or your 3-wood, whichever you prefer. You'd have a mid-iron into the green. Like I say, you could go left down by the 13th and have a longer shot in, but it was safer, but you know, obviously a lot longer hitting. And God, this was a tough hole. I used to hate this hole. And same again, this green was a reconstruction. Apparently the original green was an absolutely legendary. It sloped that severely, and a lot of people used to call it Mickey Mouse and what have you. So I think the great Mark Mitchell leveled this one. Maybe we're out here or not, I don't know. But yeah, so you'd hopefully bang your ball to somewhere around here and then you'd knock in. Like I say, you'd only be looking at a mid-iron, at, you know, low iron really, sorry, high iron, so sort of like, you know, wedge, 9 iron, 8 iron, 7 iron, something like that. And it was a flattish green, so once you sort of got over this like little mound here, coming into the green, you had probably a relatively straightforward 2-putt. You know, it wasn't a tricky green as such. Like I say, they probably wanted to make sure that it was a lot fairer when they reconstructed it, and they certainly made it that it was a lot easier to manage. And it operated, same again, I don't think there was much in way of analysis of particle size of materials and all that lot, but it functioned very well. So that just goes to show that if you put a stone carpet in anything, you normally do alright. So we go, we're on the green now. Looking a bit shabby. Not stimping right quick this one. But yeah, that's the 11th hole. Right, my battery is getting low, so after this I'm going to have to sit down and let it recharge. Thankfully I've got a power pack with me, but note to self, always charge your phone before you go on a troddle. Right, so we're on hole number 12 now. A real tough little par 3, 178 yard from the back. Par 3 wet hole, this wet hole. I ended up reconstructing in front of the green because it rotted off eventually. But I'd love to have put a lake in here if I could have done it, if we'd have had the money. It'd have been wonderful. But yeah, a good tricky little hole this. God, there weren't many times I got a 3 on it, never mind how else. But just a fabulous hole, and I'll tell you a bit more when I get near it green. Right, so here we are on the 12th green. Yeah, a tricky little one, because it drains so poorly. Put a sort of like a little mound right around top of sort of banking, and that annoyed golfers no end because it made it even harder for them. But a really tiny little green. And yeah, we're just one of these holes. I'd pray if I could get a 3 on this hole, I'd be absolutely over the moon, and I'd even take a 4 all day long because I normally make a right mess of it. But yeah, fantastic hole. Really like, you know, right tricky little hole. So good test. Right, I've just had a 15-minute break, sat down and had a drink because I want to get some juice back in this phone. But I've virtually run out of my power pack now, so if it goes on me now, then I'm up the creek. So I'm going to have to go fairly quickly because I don't want to miss the opportunity of getting around all the course. But this is the 13th tee. So the 13th is the longest hole on the course. It isn't the 4th, I got mixed up. This one is the longest hole, and from the back here it was 391 yards. Not a particularly difficult hole in the respect of you got your drive away and you found the fairway, which was straight ahead, then you're alright. But there was a quite big carry to the fairway, so you needed to be able to nail your drive, and then after that it were relatively straightforward, although the green were quite tricky. And I'll walk you in from middle of the fairway so we preserve a little bit of battery. Right, so here we are in the middle of the 13th fairway. So if you've driven your ball to here from up there, you've done pretty well. And then you would sort of maybe get somewhere in line with sort of 12 tee or around about where I am now if you hit a good ball. And then you had a straightforward shot into green, but it was a narrow green. Everything sloped from left to right, and the green were always blooming wet with this green. It was another one that we tried to drain around the outside, but it was hard to pick up both the surface water and the groundwater. But so a tricky little green, and definitely one of the holes. If you could get off with a 4, you were happy really. I didn't get many birdies on here. I can tell you that for now. Anyhow, but yeah, so it's coming up to green now. Plenty of grass on fairway at the moment. So yeah, I'll nearly there, but like I say, I'm going to try and keep brief because I don't want to run out of battery really. So yeah, we're just approaching green now, and like I say, here we go. So yeah, a tight little green, and like I say, you're always very happy if you could come off here with a 4 really. But that's hole 13, the longest hole on the course. Right, this is the 14th hole. This pile of thistles is where the tee was. It was a 2-tier tee, but I think Rob might have levelled it out. I can't remember if he did or he didn't. But yeah, 14 short par 3, long par 3 really. 225 yard. So a good knock down this hill, but a pretty straightforward hole. anything where you could hit a driver into the wind some days, and you could also hit you know, a lot less than that. But yeah, a good hole nonetheless. I'll tell you a bit more when we get near green. Right, so this is 14th green. If you've been looking, you've hit the ball down here. You normally get in or around this green. It wasn't a difficult green to get down to. You just couldn't go right up into them trees, which I invariably did quite a lot of time. But when you got onto green, it sloped from top to bottom. But it was still a, you know, reasonable sized green, tricky little green, but nonetheless part of the double green with the third. But yeah, a really nice little hole. It's 14th. I really liked it because it won a few holes on course where you saw everything that you were going to get. So yeah, that's all 14th. Right, hole 15, hell of a hole this, shortest hole on course, 109 yards, sorry 112 yards, and I extended this tee quite good, but so much jeopardy here for a tiny little hole. Green sloped severely from front to back, but you're out of bounds to the left, you had virtually no shot of it back, you had no shot right, which was down Lard Valley, named after John Whitley, I'm led to believe, but truly set the second of the quarry holes in a truly memorable little hole, so I'll take you down to green and have a look. Right, I'm down on 15th green. I've come to back green to show you my steps. I made these steps. Look how magnificent they are. Even matting's still on them, so it's a shame they're not used anymore. But I'm sure they've saved people breaking a few necks. But yeah, it's at 15th green. I don't know if you can actually quite get how sloping this green is, but what a challenge of a green. And one of those where it was just a relief when you had a good card in your hand just to get off with the three. But yeah, that's all 15. A real little challenge, a gem. Right, we're on the 16th tee. As you can see, it's a double tee with a 9th. So that's 9th that way. And you're going to have to believe in what I say because the trees are overgrown now. But 16th fairway is down this way. And 16th is a short par 4. Only 272 yard long. So you could hit an iron down middle and get away with it. But people would often go with a driver and try and drive green. I once did and put my ball 18 inch away, nearly an only one on a par 4, which would have been brilliant. And I got my 2. But yeah, I'll show you the other side of it now. And you'll get an idea of what the hole will like. Right, this is 16th, I'm in the middle of the fairway now, so you'll have driven down from that side. The green's up here, I'm going to be pretty sharpish because I'm running out of battery. And I want to conclude this video here if I can. So I'm hoping that I don't run out of battery, otherwise I'm going to be well gutted and it'll be my fault for not being prepared. Which, considering I'm on a scout reservation and I'm an ex-cub and an ex-scout, pretty poor really, isn't it? 16th green, another green that were always wet on this top side. Couldn't seem to stop it, we tried to drain it, never got anywhere with it. But yeah, could hit a mid-iron into here, and then you'd have a wedge into, mid-iron in the middle of the fairway, and you could wedge onto here, and it was pretty straightforward 2-putt really, but apart from the front of the green slope severely. But as long as you're in this back portion, you were pretty alright. But that 16th, probably that last 4 holes, the most straightforward one. Right, I'm just over side at 17th tee. I'm going to stand here because you can't really see if I stand on the actual tee. I'm overlooking second tee actually as it stands. And this is being described by, so I think a pro once said it was his favourite par 3 in all of Yorkshire or all at country. He thought it was one of the memorable holes ever. 215 yard, narrow green. You got a good card in your hand and you stand on this tee, and there were trouble everywhere. Left, you might not find your ball. Right, you might not find your ball. Short, you were okay, but you had to hit it a long way short to be okay. And obviously, if you could hit it onto green here, it was like a real win. So I've scored probably about everything from a 2 to a 10 on this hole, I would have thought. But yeah, I'll show you a bit more when I get down there. Right, I'm not going to get any close to 17th green. I'll zoom in a little bit for you. But I don't want to reveal myself, so it seems I'm so close I don't want to get to end. But like I say, you had such a job getting on or close to green. A wonderful feeling if you did hit the green or get close to it. And you could get off here with a 3, you were absolutely made up. But 215 and without doubt, one of the finest par 3s you'd find on any golf course. Right, I'm going to sneak up back on 16th path up to 18th tee because I don't want to get seen before I do my sort of summary on that hole. Right, here we are folks, this is hole 18, the last hole on the golf course, but by no means the least. 160 yards, what a jeopardy of a golf hole this was. You could have a good card in your hand here, you had a rough up to the green really, more or less, apart from maybe about 10-15 yards short at green. You had a wall at the back and out of bounds over the back, and I think the most memorable moment in golf, well I had a couple on this hole, couple really. My best ever round was with Phil Toon. When we won Bradford Winter Alliance with 14 under, and I think I played something like 200 gross at back 9 and knocked it round to about scratch, which is probably the best round I've ever had in my entire life. And I think Phil said he spoke to they organised and they said that they never had anybody when we were 1400, so I still think it's a record unless somebody can correct me. But and you could stand here, you could hit a wedge all the way up to like a 7-9 depending on which way wind were blowing. But the other memorable moment where we used to have a Ryder Cup here, and to stand on this hole and play down with half of them willing your ball to go out of bounds and half of them cheering if you managed to keep it on the green, were probably one of the most memorable moments. But I've had so many wonderful times at Riddlesden Golf Club. I'm so sad that it's in this situation now. The top and the bottom of it is, if I'm being honest, I think the biggest failing of the golf club was it never marketed itself very well at all, and lots and lots of people gave it the time to try and make it better. But I'll tell you now, when that clubhouse were on a good night, when it were rocking, there were nowhere better to be. It were absolutely fabulous. I played off this tee in the dark. I hit the first ball of the millennium off the first tee when I came back from Greens chairman Richard Simpson's house. But yeah, the one thing I would say is what made this golf club, although it was the golf course is unique, is the people. And when you came through the door, it didn't matter whether you were a brain surgeon or a bin man, everybody got treated the same, everybody got the mickey taken out of them. Some fabulous characters. Basil the Russian Prince, we had Aldo Conte, Ian Roberts, who else did we have? We had the Newmans, we had the Steads, we had people who I played a fair bit of golf with: Mick Scarborough, Colin Bottomley, Phil Toon, obviously Eddie Bellis, Mick Bland, Jeremy Goodwin, Eddie Bellis. I don't know if I said Eddie. Just trying to think who else have we got. Kaz. Just loads and loads of fantastic people. Obviously Rob, who I work with, and Jonathan, and obviously Andy Eaton, the Eatons, Big Den, Dennis, Liam, Dale, Andy, who worked with us, Dean Simpson, who worked with us, the stewards and stewardesses, obviously the fantastic Kev and Gina, R.I.P. Kev, we'll never forget you, pal. We also had another lady who I can't remember her name. We had obviously Dawn and Andrew, who were absolutely fantastic. We had Carol at stewardess, she were brilliant. So just some fabulous times on here. Stroke and putt, Claire taking 46 shots to get on 9th green. Just memory after memory after memory, and I think I fell asleep on bar about 2 or 3 times as well. So I'll never ever forget coming here. They gave me my first opportunity to be an egg greenkeeper, and I'll forever thank him. And although the money were crap, if I'm being honest, and the accommodation at the time were left a little bit lacking, I don't regret one single minute of it. It were a fabulous 7 years that we're down here, and I still think it's a wonderful place to live. It was so peaceful, it really is. But yep, I'll try and get some shots at 18th when I get down there. I hope my battery is going to last out, but fingers crossed. Right, I'm going to come back past now. I'm back on the path back down towards the 18th green now. Well, just coming past the first tee, but I remember looking over that wall when I went to my first ever Cook Scout camp in Lowood, just over at wall, and looking over this wall, and never at that time did I ever imagine that I'd end up becoming a greenkeeper here. But yeah, it's been a fabulous little walk round. There is a footpath that runs through the golf course. Obviously you've got to be respectful of the scouts, it's their land, so in respect is, you've got to stick to the path, but you're more than allowed to be on this path. I think there's been restrictions when COVID were on, when the lockdown were on, but obviously that's not the case anymore. But when I come back down here, I'm just going to quickly show you if my battery lasts where I used to live, and the 18th green, the clubhouse, and then I'll say tatty bye. But I hope you've all enjoyed this troddle, because it's a troddle with a difference, and I want to try and get a few more local ones, and it's not just all about fell walking and wild camping and all that lot. It's about just things that I find interesting and things that are important to me, and this is one of them places that is important to me. So I don't know whether the scouts, I presume they're using this now as some sort of there's a caravan here, there's all sorts, so, but I don't know if they're using it for lodgings or what have you, but it's all locked up and secure in here. But yeah, I'll just spin it around and show you. I might be able to show you from down there, so I'll show you when I should put my back to it there. But you see there's the houses. So I lived in the firehouse, 2 Howden Rough. And then I'll spin it round and show you. That's obviously the 18th green now, lovely big green. I'll put some pictures on as well of what it used to look like. Hopefully you can make a comparison then. And then obviously behind me now is the fantastic clubhouse, which didn't used to have all the screens on it and what have you. It was lovely, really nice, and many a good laugh had down there. And as you can see, if you look back up the 18th now, I'll spin it round. You can see that's where you hit down from the 18th hole. So that's Riddlesden Golf Club in a nutshell. I'm glad I've done that. Hopefully it'll provide some memories. I just wish I'd done it when it closed, but yeah, I'll always remember Riddlesden Golf Club with fondness, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Keep watching and keep travelling.